to go out and challenge the world for a Navy. We didn't have no Navy. We didn't have no army of sharpshooters. As my colleagues coming in, fly equipment down from a weekend of just attempting to get some sensibility over to we the people. But if it does not meet logic, if it does not meet M-E-T-E, what is logical and what is practical for your circumstances, why would I allow you to just drag me on into a war? He said, well, I supported that. No, the Sheikh Ambassador, man, I'm totally against you bombing anybody. Bomb you not, for ye shall be bombed in the most horrible fashion. You can't bomb anybody back to the Stone Age. You shouldn't be walking around in leadership with that mentality. Oh, if they give us too much trouble, we just bomb them back in the Stone Age. You really like flexing that kind of power? It's not nothing nice, brothers. War, revolution, especially revolutionary war, will get muddy and tend to get bloody. And if you ain't willing to kill to live, then you shouldn't have war in your vocabulary. I say my.
So I mean, like, is the uranium enrichment concern being overblown in y'all's opinion? Because I mean, like, that's kind of what I'm understanding. Like, because anything that we do, like, especially under this administration, is going to be like in some sort of interest of Trump or some sort of interest of the U.S. Like, it's not for because they want to liberate the people. Like, I don't have any illusions about that. I don't think Trump really gives a fuck, or people in his cabinet or in his administration. But like the stated, kind of what the U.S. gets out of it is, we have to deter development of nuclear weapons, and I guess like this is a quote unquote imminent military threat. So, I mean, is that overblown? Or, I mean, because if true, like, wouldn't we have kind of a duty to respond in that situation and ensure that we are mitigating that possibility? No, just let them.
Would argue that.
So make an atom bomb.
Answer to that
nuclear
question
bomb.
Is
uranium.
I would argue that it's no. When America, it should always strategic reasons that will benefit hegemony or within the region that we're trying to protect. Now, if the the Iranian people patient, that's the way of doing it. But we have merely armed for people who had gone. They were just fighting with their mowed down like ants. You just simply start clear that they could fight for their freedom. We coordinated with that. He calls themselves knocking off heads of governments as Americans harm. The ones who seem to are harming his buddies. All dictators. That's what himself to be. I think this bombing will benefit because which is what they're wanting. I question whether this is, quite honestly, we have enough here. We don't have any in, and I'll land there.
Yeah, we didn't hear any of that. I'm sorry. You and the Matrix bad.
I was arguing that
Brother, you're not arguing anything right now. We're gonna move the mic around. We cannot hear you. You have a bad signal. So just come back when you or turn your Wi-Fi off. Go on data. Every other word is coming out. So
Shoot, I thought that was me.
Should work if he goes out and comes back in. So, I mean, the propaganda machine, again, is governing the mind. The sentiments of the people are being governed. Propaganda, the axis of evil is over there. If we don't get the axis of evil immediately, we're going to be through as a government. They're going to destroy our world. There's a boogeyman coming in your window any minute. So, to vilify and say things to cause people to be in favor of bombing and wars it's not the way, maybe a way. Those that have done it in the past at some point live to regret those decisions to bomb others. And they're using, I'll take personal, you ready, on my land. My land is here. 10,000-year history of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Another history connected to Al-Kiba land, to the Africa, especially Burkina Faso, or the Ibri. We're trying to bring enough red berets, enough black berets to curtail or to stop this unrelenting energy to war or to bomb somebody. You don't know the feeling until your people bombed at Philadelphia, the whole goddamn block. No one has sensitivity for that. It's a terrible report to tell the captain, but I have to tell you the truth. They bombed out Tulsa, Oklahoma, streets, Greenwood, Archer, and Pine, and burned it to the ground, leveled it so we no usage value left. Well over 3,000, maybe over 4,000. I have 3,000 and some odd numbers of people bombed in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Another few thousand bombed and burned in Tanzania and South Africa to match it. And it is not a comfortable feeling when you feel your blood lineage, your blood people are being bombed. It's a terribly uncomfortable feeling. You don't walk around thinking about anything else except your people just got bombed.
we got some breaking news.
Just got bombed.
Hey, Mister, we have breaking news.
It's crazy.
Shout out to our brother Neoliberal. Thank you for the update. Satellite imagery shows an Iranian ship ablaze in Qanar. Hold on, it just jumped. Ooh, the chat is busy. Iranian ship ablaze in Qanarak, a port city southeastern Iran on the Gulf of Oman. Source, Van Tortek. So it's going down, guys. Keep the breaking news coming. We appreciate you, citizen reporters, because social media is definitely letting us know what's going on.
And I've been trying to get us fresh clips. However, I just don't want us to keep repeating information, even in these clips. So sometimes I'm not able to listen to the conversation in the room because I'm just trying to grab some fresh clips. But let's just please keep it to current events, as long as they're germane to
See,
Israel with the
what happened was,
You know what, Haitian? Oh my God. So, yeah, I don't want us to jump on over because then people get confused because when I came back to listen, I was confused. So, Iran, Israel, that's it, that's all.
So I sent the link of how we are going to do the transition, and this is what His Majesty gave us. And you can have all the informations you have, you want to know there, and we would be happy if you have anything like doesn't make sense. There, we would be happy if you inform in the website. There is a place you can just give your comment about this, but this is the official document.
So I think I might have found a new clip. Let me just start streaming.
The Middle East. It is not an artificial creation like many of the countries in this region carved up after World War I. It is an ancient bedrock of the region, and now it is up in the air. It is profoundly destabilized, and that has potential consequences for the entire globe. The Parthenians and the Sassanians and the Afsharid Empire. I mean, Iran and the Persians have this extraordinary history and culture that you so importantly bring up. But also, I think, Richard, the impact of the 1979 revolution in Iran that was brought to it from Paris, aboard an Air France plane, with the coordination and help of the West, mostly the United States. But that regime has had so much impact, as you were saying, but not only with Richard, let me interrupt you. I'm sorry. Let's go to the Israeli Prime Minister.
This fateful campaign will continue as long as it is needed, but you need to really be resilient and strong. I would like to thank President Trump for his historical leadership. I spoke with him again this morning, and I would like to thank him and bless him for this close collaboration. It has truly reached the record of all time, an alliance in peace and in war. And this war will bring about true peace. For 47 years, the Ayatollah regime has been calling out for death to Israel, for death for the Americans, and it has brought about the deaths of many Americans and Israelis. Everyone knows that a murderous regime should have nuclear weapons and can continue threatening the entire humankind, and of course us as well. We started in order to end this threat completely. On the second day of that war for our revival, we said we would change the Middle East. We did it, then the rising lion, and now we will do so even more so with the roar of the lion war. This morning was a surprising hit, a blow. We hit out at the tyrant Khamenei. For 3 decades, he has been sending terror with proxies and has made his people miserable and continue talking about the extermination of the state of Israel. This plan and program no longer exists. This tyrant no longer exists. We targeted those at the head of the leadership of the Brotherhood of the Revolutionary Guard and all general staff and others. We would like to thank the brave severed horrific ties with that regime. This is an opportunity. Do something. Do not sit with your arms crossed, because this moment will come and you will be demanded to go out of the streets in the masses, because you have to complete that work and you have to bring down and eradicate this regime. Your suffering and your sacrifice will not be in vain. We promised you the help, and the help has arrived. And now the time has come to reunite all of you, all the Persians, the Kurds, the Baluchim, the Iranians. The time has come to unify yourselves and to truly topple this regime and ensure your future. Dear Israeli citizens, throughout the entire war, I watched your resilience. You did not fall into those traps of depression. On the contrary, you stood tall and you gave backing to the government, to the heroes fighting, and to me in order to lead that struggle for our existence. That is exactly how a people of lions fight. Over the next few days, we will still need to stand steadfast and adhere to all the demands and all the instructions of the Home Front Command.
So let me pause this. So Ben, I turned it to
No, I know what it is. No, I'm saying like, what is like? No, I know what it is.
Okay, so keep playing. Okay, I'm sorry.
Tremendous symbolism that today is Purim, the 11th day of Adar. Yosef Trumpelbor fell at the Tel Hai battle. His heritage, his heroism is burning within us. At the monument in the panhandle of the Galilee, you can see the roaring lions monument. For many times I always visited there and looked at that monument, and I always saw you, our people, us, the entire nation of Israel, and with the help of God, that roar of the lion of our soldiers and our pilots will be heard throughout the world. And today, more than ever, the entire world knows Am Israel Chai, the people of Israel live.
The Prime Minister of Israel speaking directly at the end of his comments directly to the Iranian people. I want to bring back Richard Engel. He is in Tel Aviv. Richard, the Prime Minister of Israel speaking directly to the Iranian people, calling them the lion, and President Trump also, at the end of his overnight comments, directly speaking to the Iranian people, telling them that their future is now theirs to take. This message that we just heard, I was listening to his Prime Minister Netanyahu's comments as well. This mission that Israel has launched is called the Lion's Roar. That is the name that it is given. And he was saying to the Iranians, now it's up to them, that they should go out onto the streets and take down their government. It's the exact same message that we heard from President Trump earlier in the day, saying that help has arrived, that there will be these military strikes, and that eventually when the government is weak enough, that the people should take power and overthrow their government. It's unclear which people. It's unclear how that's supposed to work. Presumably there will be some CIA help. There'll be communication. There'll be covert actions to try and direct this. But it is an incredibly risky and difficult thing to accomplish. I can't think of a time when this has ever been successful. Generally, regime changes can happen in one of three ways. You can either send in American troops or foreign troops in general, like the U.S. did in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they bring in opposition leaders like Karzai or Chalabi with them. and then install them as puppet leaders. The U.S. did that in both Iraq and Afghanistan and ended up staying there for many years, and the country still collapsed in both cases into infighting and internecine war and civil war. Or you can hope that there'll be some sort of popular uprising, which is what Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump are encouraging. Or they can try and engineer some sort of coup, which I think there are many in the U.S. Military who would prefer that third option, that if there was enough military power that there are those in the Iranian government or those in the Iranian military who realize that they have entered into a fight that they cannot lose, and they overthrow the top leadership. But this middle path, the path of hoping that there'll be a popular street revolution and that it will turn out well in a country of 90 million people with deep historic risks, is far from certain. But that is the message that we have been hearing almost word for word from President Trump, and now just moments ago from Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Indeed, Richard. I mean, President Trump also, part of his comments, he spoke directly to the armed forces and police of Iran, saying that if you depose your arms, you will have total immunity, or if you don't, you will face certain death. It's really all about the reaction now to, first of all, Richard, how effective the decapitation of the top echelon of the Iranian regime has been, and then what remains of that regime does going forward.
In every war, you would want to know how it ends. What is the day after? What is the exit strategy? And I have not heard really from anyone involved in this military campaign how it is supposed to end, other than this hope that the government will sort of crumble and that an opposition will return. There has been talk in the past about reinstating the Shah. I'm not sure that it's a total accident that Israel chose to name this operation the Lion's Roar. The lion is a symbol of Israel. It is also the old symbol of the Shahs of Iran. If you look at some of the posters and placards that the protesters were holding up, calling for the return of the Shah, many of them had the sun and the lion on them. And going back to the days of the Shah, before the 1979 revolution, the Shah was a close ally of the United States. The Shah was a close ally of Israel. When the Shah was overthrown, he escaped and ultimately ended up in the United States. That is why, according to the Iranians, they took over the U.S. embassy and held the diplomats hostage because they wanted the Shah to be returned from the United States, sent back to Iran so he could be tried for war crimes and crimes against his people. I was just in the former U.S. embassy a couple of weeks ago. It has now been turned into a museum celebrating that takeover, celebrating the kidnapping of those American hostages, which Iran thought was a historic triumph, because inside the embassy compound they found espionage equipment. Like in many embassies, there are also intelligence stations. So there is this desire that isn't being openly talked about to potentially change the regime and bring back what was there before, which was the royal family.
So much has changed in just the last couple of months. I'm thinking just even the operation that was carried out in Caracas on the 3rd of January, how that was carried out and the repercussions of something like that. But Richard, much more to discuss. We're going to continue with our breaking news. I appreciate your contributions, but it is the top of the hour right now, 2 p.m. on the East Coast, 11 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. in Tehran, as Iran carries out retaliatory strikes after both the U.S. and Israel staged a major joint attack on the regime. Video shows what appears to be a plane, or most probably a drone, which you were telling us, slamming into a residential building in Bahrain. We're also seeing this strike near a U.S. naval base, also in Bahrain. Take a look at that. Officials say Iran's retaliation has targeted U.S. military assets there. Also in the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Jordan, Saudi Arabia has seen its territory attacked. At this hour, there are no reported American casualties. Now, within the last hour, U.S. Central Command posting this video of the early morning coordinated strikes. Officials telling NBC News that these attacks are significant in scope, much larger than last year's attack, and that the ongoing operation could last for several days. The Prime Minister of Israel saying that there would be definitely some activity the next couple of days. NBC's chief correspondent, Keir Simmons, is with us from Dubai once again. Keir, the fact that Morocco would step up and say that they show their complete solidarity and support of, among other places, Saudi Arabia. We have to remember that Morocco has been plagued with the Polisario Front, supported by Iran for decades now, but also other countries in the Middle East also supporting what is going on and opposing Iran, including a conversation that the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia just had with Egypt.
Yeah, this is a disaster for Iran, what's happening in this specific region in the Gulf area. The Arab countries here in the Gulf and more widely Jordan, Turkey, Middle Eastern countries, as you mentioned, North Africa, they weren't united in their view of the potential for a strike by the Trump administration on Iran. They are now united in their reaction almost entirely. There are some differences. The Omani foreign minister, who was mediating the talks between Iran and the US, put out a scathing statement earlier today questioning why the Trump administration would launch these strikes when negotiations were continuing. But as you mentioned, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, who is an increasingly towering figure in the region, has been speaking to other leaders, including to the president of the United Arab Emirates, where I am. And that is a kind of uniting of those two leaders that we haven't seen for some time. And Mohammed bin Salman, offers complete support for the United Arab Emirates because I am here in Dubai and we have heard explosions right the way through the day. You mentioned CENTCOM. CENTCOM, just as we came to air this hour, Jose, putting out a statement saying it has, this is US Central Command, for people who don't know, saying that they have successfully defended against hundreds of Iranian missile and drone attacks launched in retaliation to the strikes. Now, that doesn't surprise me from what we've been hearing. What has surprised me, though, is the images that we have seen. You showed it. We showed the really frightening one at the beginning there, but the images that we have seen of civilian infrastructure being hit, that apartment block in Bahrain. There's also pictures of a substantial fire outside of a hotel here in Dubai, on a very famous part of Dubai called Palm Jumeirah. And the authorities here in the UAE, in Kuwait, in Qatar, in Bahrain, in Saudi, they are saying that they have intercepted many of these missiles and drones. They say that it's been a successful operation. Some of the damage on the ground that we're seeing will be the debris from those interceptions landing, but that drone flying into that apartment building is clearly not that, and that is going to stick in this region. And when we talk about whether this is going to escalate, Jose, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. At what point do these countries, who are very cautious in their approach to things, always look for stability, at what point do these countries start to act on what they're now saying, which is that they reserve the right to take their own measures in reaction to this targeting? What the Iranians are trying to do, to just try and help people understand who may be thinking, why is this happening? What the Iranians are trying to do is not just target bases with US servicemen and women in the region, but also by hitting countries that are allies and partners of the United States in this way, hope that those governments will go to Washington and say, listen, you need to stop this. Now, that may still happen. We're in the first day of this, clearly, and this can shift and change the way war does, and there can be a change of view. It can all become too much. But right now, what the Iranians are doing is effectively uniting the region against them, and that cannot be, frankly, for a regime that is weak and is isolated, it is now even more isolated. That being said, there are signs that the kinds of things that we have worried about with an operation like this are playing out. So there are reports that there is simply no marine traffic in the Strait of Hormuz at this point. That's probably not surprising given the threats, but that, as we've been saying again and again, carries 20% of the world's oil and gas. That oil price and potentially the